Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to show you how to add a tip-in into your Bible. So I'm working on the Brave and Strong online workshop by Illustrated Faith. This was written by Tanya Hamilton, and I'm working in day 3 here. It's for 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." So here I've gone ahead and taken one of the papers from the online workshop and printed it onto a transparency sheet. And then I also have some of these elements from the workshop that I've gone ahead and print out and cut out onto cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and use a permanent dry adhesive to adhere these down. Now on these transparency sheets, you want to make sure that you use a really good strong adhesive. That way they adhere really well since this is a plasticky type material. And I do have links down below showing you where I did order these transparencies. I know a lot of people ask where to get those from, so there's a link down below. For the back side, I went ahead and cut out some scrapbook papers that matched with the colors from this workshop and cut those down so that they are the same size as the pieces that I adhered to the front. And then I'll go ahead and just stick those down with that adhesive. That way the back side of those papers with all that adhesive is covered up and you can't see it. And this also gives you a place to do some journaling on the back side. So I'm just going to stick that down there, and then it's all has the transparency sandwich between those paper pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the stamp set from this month's devotional kit by Illustrated Faith. It's the Gratitude Kit, and it just really matches well with this online workshop. So I'm going to take the leaves and acorns from that kit, and I'm going to use some StazOn ink to stamp these out. Now I'm going to be using some Inktense pencils with water to color these in. So you do want to use a waterproof permanent ink to stamp these. And I'm stamping them onto this cardstock. Now, I'm not quite sure where I got this cardstock from. I know that it's a thinner cardstock. It doesn't feel like it's quite 65 pound. I did want something that was strong enough for me to watercolor on, but not so thick that it would add a bunch of bulk once I adhered these onto that tip-in page. So I'm just stamping out several of these images. I'm not quite sure how many I'm going to use, so I'm just making sure that I stamp out plenty of them. And I'll just go ahead and color them in. And today I'm using Inktense pencils. These are very similar to watercolor pencils, except that they're made out of ink, and when they're dry, they are permanent. So you can go ahead and color these images in just like you would with a colored pencil. However, I'm not coloring them all the way in. I'm just laying down a little bit of color, really messy, no shading or anything like that. I'm using some colors that match this workshop. So mustard yellows and reds and greens and just things like that, oranges. Just kind of sticking with those fall colors. I'm going to go ahead and add those all down in dry first. And these pencils are great. They do normally come in a tin. I've gone ahead and also ordered some single colors. So I've put them all in this little like photo box. That way they're easy to transport and they're all together and I can see them. So I'm just roughly filling those in. And then now I'm going to go ahead and take an aqua brush. This is a paintbrush that has water already in it. I'm making sure that there's barely any water on the brush. Since I am using a really thin cardstock, I don't want to destroy it or warp it with too much water. And then I'll just go ahead and brush it over the top of what I've colored, and it just activates that ink and turns it into like a watercolor. Here I've gone ahead and pulled out a brown pencil as well, and I'm just touching the tip of my wet brush to the tip of that pencil and just adding a little bit of brown shading to these leaves, just so that they're not a flat color. It adds a little bit of dimension to them. The great thing about these Inktense pencils, again, is that they are permanent once they are dry, but they're also very, very vibrant colors. So I've barely laid down any color at all, and once you start moving it around with the water, they really become very bright. So now I've just gone ahead and colored all of those in, just all, different fall colors. And then now I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut those out. Now I use my Silhouette Cameo to cut out the printables from the workshop. And when I did that, I had my machine leave a little bit of a white border around those elements. So these pieces here, I'm also, when I cut them out, I'm going to leave a little bit of a white border. That way they really tie in and match well with the pieces that I'd already cut out. Now you can hand cut all of these elements. I just have a print and cut feature with my machine that I can use. So I've gone ahead and cut out all of those leaves and acorns, and now I'm going to make them into stickers. So I'm going to go ahead and take this Xyron sticker maker, and you'll go ahead and stick these little pieces facing up down into the top here. And then when you pull the paper out at the bottom, it sandwiches those pieces between the plastic and some adhesive. So I'll show you in the end here how that works. So it basically makes these a sticker. So the entire back of these elements are completely covered with a permanent adhesive. They do sell a repositional adhesive that you can put in this machine as well. I just prefer the permanent for all of my Bible journaling. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick all of those in. And I've also pulled out some leaves from the workshop as well. And then you do want to make sure that you rub these down. That way it takes off any of the excess adhesive that might be on there. You don't want any adhesive poking off the edge of these pieces, or it will stick to the pages in your Bible. So I'm just going to rub those down. And then you'll go ahead and peel this top plastic layer off. And that just pulls off all the excess adhesive, and you're left with these stickers on this paper backing. So I'm going to stick those on the tip in here in a second. I've gone ahead and taken this phrase. It says, God has not given us the spirit of fear. And I went ahead and used my Silhouette Cameo to cut it out of permanent adhesive vinyl. You could definitely do this with alpha stickers. You could handwrite this on there with like a Sharpie or some other permanent marker. I just found this an easy way, and I already have the vinyl and the Silhouette machine that cut this out. So it cuts out the vinyl kind of like a sticker, and then it has this transfer sheet that goes over the top. That way you can stick it down all at once, and then you'll peel this transfer sheet off, and then you're left with this decal on the tip-in. The great thing about this is it's the same color front and back, so I don't have a white backing on the other side of my tip-in. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of these pieces and just create some little clusters around this phrase. And I just kind of play around. These are some of the leaves that come with the workshop. The great thing about the printables from these online workshops is you can print them again and again and again and again, as many pieces as you need. Now they are personal use only. You couldn't sell these elements, but you can, once you've bought them, you keep those files and you can just go back and print more as you need them. And I've pulled them out from other kits and used them together with future kits, and they're just really great for that. And these workshops come with all different kinds of elements that all work together, little journaling cards, and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick all these pieces down on there. And I made sure to use that thinner cardstock, that way as I stack these, it doesn't get too bulky in my Bible. I've also gone ahead and taken the phrases from the workshop and printed them out onto some sticker paper, and I just used my X-Acto knife to cut those out into little strips. And then same thing on the back, I'll add one of those little pieces onto the back side here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take that tip in, make sure that it fits into my Bible. I don't want it sticking out. You definitely can. I just prefer to keep everything kind of flush on the sides of my Bible. I'm taking some of the washi tape from the Gratitude Devotional Kit this month, and those colors really go well with the colors that were in this online workshop. So I'm going to take that washi tape, cut off a piece, and make sure that I'm adhering it so it's half on this tip-in, and then the other half will stick to the page in my Bible. Now in prior videos I've shown you how I've used a double-sided adhesive to do this with the tip-in. This is just a way to do it with the washi tape that you might already have. I'll go ahead and cut off the extra off of the edges here, and then you can just stick that down in there. This is a great way to do Bible journaling if you're not comfortable with coloring directly onto the page. And this is also great if you've already journaled on a page, don't have room to come back and add more, you can add a tip in. That way you can work on different verses on that page. And so now that's adhered down in there. I can still read all of the text on that page behind, no problem. I've gone ahead and taken a couple of the tabs from the workshop. These do work with your We Are Memory Keepers tab punch, or you can cut them out by hand, no problem. And I'm just gone ahead and picked out one for the front of this tip-in, and I'm going to use that dry adhesive runner again and stick that down on there. And then I'll also go ahead and take a tab to adhere to the back. That way this transparency sheet is kind of sandwiched between these two tabs. So I'll go ahead and just stick that down, and it also covers the white from the back side of these tabs. Just kind of creates a double-sided tab. Then I'll go ahead and again take that washi tape from the Gratitude Kit and add a little piece of that on there just to kind of reinforce it. And same thing on the back side. Now I chose to use some scrapbook papers that were already lined. That way I could do some journaling on the back side here. I went ahead and just journaled a little prayer just that I came up with as I was studying this devotional. Now I've been working on the idea of being brave and strong and the verse Joshua 1:9 all this year, even before this kit came out. So I had a lot to pray about and say since I've really been focusing on it the rest of this year. So I'm just writing out a little prayer here. I'll go ahead and use my Illustrated Faith date stamp and stamp the date onto that other little piece there. And I do date all of my entries that I put in my Bible, and that's just so I can kind of look back on what I was working at different times of the year. I'm going to go ahead and take one of these brush pens from Faber-Castell and highlight the verse, and that's it. So be sure to check out the description bar down below. I'll have links to all of the products used in today's video. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can be caught up on any future videos that I might have. Until next time, thank you so much.